Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Hermitcraft. Today's episode is the Q&A episode, meaning that I am on holiday taking a break, going on a skiing vacation abroad. Really been looking forward to that. And so in a previous episode I asked all of you to do a Q&A hashtag down below in the description box asking me questions. Comment box, jeez, asking me questions so that we could do a simple and casual little Q&A episode that I could put out for you while I'm away on holiday. So first of all, appreciate you all leaving your questions, and second of all, before we get to answering them and stuff, this is going to be a little bit like a live streamy type video because I'm just going to be waffling on, you know, chatting while I just do some work here in the background. So hopefully you'll enjoy that. And if you've been to my live streams before, you'll probably find a lot of questions here I've already answered in my live streams, because live streams are pretty much Q&As all of the time, right? I mean, I just sit there, there's questions that people ask in chat, I answer them, it is pretty much a Q&A, you know. So I'm going to put the questions on the screen. These first two are, you know, pretty much the same. Why did you choose your name as xisumavoid, and why the name xisumavoid? Now, obviously, I am Xisuma, and xisumavoid is the name of the channel. The story behind it is pretty simple. Basically, I was trying to make a unique name that I could use online, and Xisuma was the name that I come up with. Now, if you look at the letters there, if you look at M-U-S-I-X, imagine the X was a C, that would say music. So I kind of swapped the word around, changed a letter, you know, and put an A on the end, and Xisuma, and I thought that's really cool. I like that. And, you know, the rest is history, I guess. The Void comes from the band that I was listening to at the time, a French band called Void Through Materialism, and I was listening to their music. I couldn't take the name Xisuma because someone else already had it, and so I went, xisumavoid. There you go, that'll do. I never knew I'd be uploading, you know, videos to, well, I knew that I was uploading videos, but not ones that anyone wanted to watch or listen to. And I never knew that, you know, I was going to do Minecraft, or it was going to go this far, or anything like that, so it was just a name that works at the time. The next two questions are, why are you a weird guy with muscles and a mask? Why is your skin like that? The second one says, why your skin have a mask? I mean, my skin does have a mask. Yeah, that's not my face. I'm wearing a helmet, you know. Basically, there is an old computer game called Doom. It is a first-person shooter. In fact, it is the game that people called a Doom clone before they called things first-person shooters. I love that game. I played it as a child. It is about shooting scary-looking demons. It is just a brilliant game, and when I was playing Minecraft and I had to pick a skin, my very first skin was actually one of those anonymous Guy Fawkesy type skins. I don't know if anyone still uses those anymore. And then after a while I decided to change it to the Doom Guy skin, the one that looked pretty much like the Doom Guy out of the game. I wish that I have not, you know, built that one up, because this tree looks kind of janky. Maybe what we should do is give it a thicker trunk or root, or whatever you want to call it. Not a root. Roots are underground. Jeez, I'll shut up and go back to the questions now. Yeah, so then what I did after a while is I did a skin competition to change my skin, and I would let the audience decide what they wanted the skin to be, and Raven's Child actually remade the same skin, and it's the same one that I use to this day. Let me take my clothes off for a second here. Hi. You saw the mask earlier. My inventory, no, it's not full. There we go. That's the skin, and it hasn't changed since. It's absolutely wonderful. He did a really good job on basically taking the Doom Guy thing, kind of making it look a little bit more unique, and it really fit what I like, and I was very glad that that one won the skin competition, as it has been my skin ever since. Next one is about face reveals and me and my face, and how many of you haven't seen it. Q&A. I don't want you to do a face reveal. However, I am concerned you don't actually have a face. So do you have a face, eyeballs, nose and all? Yeah, I do have a face. It's not like I'm disfigured or horribly disformed in any way. My reasons to not show my face are just because of how I feel about doing this. I'm not someone who really wants to be the center of attention in that way, so I'm absolutely fine with just not putting my face at the front of this. And the second one here is, we want face cam. And, you know, you can see that obviously not everyone does want face cam, and I know this because I do get comments from time to time saying if you did the face cam now, it would spoil the mystery. I like not knowing what you look like and all of that. So I want to actually like try and extrapolate something from this and basically say that I get a lot of comments like this where people say, you know, you should show your face. Everyone wants to see it. It would be much better if you did for this reason and that reason. And often it's not the case, you know. It's probably not a good idea to have an opinion and think that everyone agrees with you, is what I'd like to bring from that. If there's one thing I've learned, you can hear some of the most absurd opinions ever, and there will be people out there that will totally agree with them. And that's because we've all got different lives, we all walk different paths, and we've got different ways of seeing things. So our next question, Q&A. What does it feel like to be famous and so appreciated, yet no one knows who you are at the same time? Well, as I said a moment ago, I never really wanted to be like the center of attention. I've never desired to be famous. Fame is something that doesn't really mean a lot to me. I don't really care about people just because they're famous. You know, I care about people who say interesting things or have something to offer. But yeah, not interested in fame at all, really. And so what this is about for me is the experience of doing all of this. This is a lot of fun. Oh, and look, we can extend the trunk down here a little bit as well, which looks kind of cool where it goes deeper. Yeah, it's all about the experience of what it's like to do this day to day, and I really enjoy it. I really enjoy that lots of other people have fun watching the videos and that, but to me it's not fame. It's not being famous. It's not part of that culture, and it's not really what I'm about either. This is all just about the videos that you watch and the experience that we have together, whether that be through the comments or on a live stream. You know, that's kind of why I do all of this. Hashtag Q&A. Do you know, in the future, I think we're going to do that like every so often, maybe every couple of months we do a Q&A episode. What I like to do is save those kind of things for a time when you do need to do something where you can just log into the world and chat about things that people are interested while you do a little bit of work, but you don't have a lot of time because you're going away and all of that. But it's kind of really fun, and I feel like, oh, we're out of saplings. That means we've got to go chop down some trees over on that side of the island. Yes, but I feel like there are a lot of questions being asked that I've answered so many times. It made me realise that they don't always, you know, get to everyone. And so perhaps what we need is to just do these more frequently, and then you guys will understand like what I'm about a bit more and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, this Q&A isn't really about me. It says, what tips would you provide for an aspiring Minecraft content creator as far as starting hardware, software, whatever, on a low budget? For example, what kind of stuff did you start with? The second one is Q&A. What is some good editing software for beginners? What software did you use? Now, if you are an aspiring Minecraft content creator or any type of content here on YouTube, I hope that your aspirations are to create the thing that you want to express and not to achieve numbers and fame or whatever you want to call it, you know, subscriber counts, because that stuff is actually not really that rewarding, I guess. Here's the thing, like, yeah, it was getting dark and it was kind of ridiculous in there. So here's the thing, if you want to like do this for numbers and subscribers and all of that, this is a really hard job. I do this every single day. I put an extraordinary amount of time and effort and hours into it, but I love it, and that love is the key to that, right? This is a great job. I love doing this because I genuinely like what I'm doing. If you just wanted to be a famous Minecraft YouTuber or whatever, and it turns out that you don't like spending, you know, 10 plus hours a day working on videos, then you're going to end up doing something that you don't enjoy, and that's not the point, really. You should be looking to do something that you enjoy. So when it comes to aspirations, I hope that your heart and your head is in the right place, that you've got this thing that you want to do. I really want to make Minecraft videos, and it's not about, I want to have these subscribers, I want to, you know, be known or something like that, because those are the wrong reasons to do this, and it will actually end up being something that's not really enjoyable if that's the only reason that you're doing it for. But the questions were about video editing software. Now, I use something called MSP12. I would highly recommend it to anyone because it is very cheap. You can pick up a cheap copy for about £30 on Amazon. It's a great place. Well, actually, no, it's probably not the best place to start video editing, but in terms of having some decent features on it, it's a pretty good intermediate level video editor. It's very reliable, and I've been using it for years, which means that I have saved an extraordinary amount of money in comparison to something like the Adobe equivalent. I forget what it's called, But the Adobe equivalent, you have to pay something like £10 a month for. Now that's £120 a year, and I've been using this software for probably about 5 years. So you do the math. I've saved myself about £500 by being smart with my money there. But when it comes to video editing, you got to think about what you're doing. Think about what this video is. It's me stitching together clips of me recording, and you can easily do that with Windows Live Movie Maker, which is free. If any of you ever want to get into any type of video editing, always start with something that is free. You know, be smart. Don't throw all your money on what you think the best software ever is, because if you go and buy yourself as a beginner the best guitar money can buy, you pick it up, you're going to sound like a beginner. And the same thing goes for making videos as well. You gotta learn your craft. You got to figure out how to make videos. And so I'd always recommend starting off with something free and cheap, but also keep in mind what it is you're doing. Do you need a really fancy piece of video editing software to do something big and fancy when all you're doing is recording Minecraft and then clipping one clip after the other together? You're just stitching them together. No, I could actually make most of these episodes still with Windows Live Movie Maker, but I don't, and it means there's one or two fancy things like the overlay in the top right corner of your screen where it says xisumavoid.com. You can't do that with Windows Live Movie Maker. You can't throw up the images on top of other ones, and you can't do little things like the intro. You can put in intro music though, so it's all about what you're using it for. And a lot of the time, if you're doing Minecraft videos, you're literally just recording, and there's no need for fancy, expensive software. So I've been punching leaves for a couple of minutes here, just trying to get the last of all the saplings. We've probably actually got enough to continue with what we're doing just fine. The next Q&A is, how did Hermitcraft get started, and how did you join Hermitcraft? Well, I've had the privilege of being on Hermitcraft since day one. The story goes that back in the day, Generic B, another YouTuber who no longer does Minecrafty stuff, asked me if I'd like to be a part of a server that he was starting, and of course I said yes. And he said, do you want to invite your friends? Because I had like a little group of YouTubers. Back then you used to have like boxes on the side of your screen where you could promote other YouTubers, and that used to be like a really big thing, and there were like these little communities developed through talking to each other in messages on YouTube. That's not so much the same anymore, but anyway, I had a few other people, like Biffa was one of them, Corrales, and a couple other names as well. I'm not sure if anyone else was still actually on the server at this point, but Biffa and Corrales are still part of Hermitcraft, and they were two of the people that I invited to join as well, and that's how it all got started. I got an invite, I was here from day one, and now here we are in 2017, over 5 years later, well, over 5.5 years later at this point, because this season started on the 5th year anniversary of Hermitcraft. This next Q&A says, what do you think of Hermitcraft people who disappear partway through a season? I got no problems with anyone disappearing for whatever reason at all, really. Like, everyone's got their own life, doing their own thing, and if someone were malicious, let's say, I think that would be really obvious. Like, if their reason to stop was somehow malicious, I couldn't even give you an example of what that would be. But if it's not malicious, then what's the problem, right? Like, if people get burned out, they lose inspiration, there's nothing wrong with that at all. And I do see some people leave comments getting angry at how, someone they watch doesn't play anymore. I mean, it's just how it goes. People do lose interest in things, and it's absolutely fine in my opinion. Q&A, where can I get Hermitcraft merchandise? I would always love a hoodie with the hermits on it. Now, the thing about Hermitcraft is that it is a community, it's not a business, and there is no money between us hermits. There's nothing like directly involved, like a bank account or some place that we earn together. Everyone in the community has their own way of earning for themselves, right? And the community is just about the projects that we do together and the servers that we run. So because of that, we've never touched anything like merchandise, and we probably never will, unfortunately. Now, you might be thinking that, oh, what if you just, gave it away essentially for free, did some commission-free stuff, which is what I do with my t-shirts. Okay, so if you want an Asuma t-shirt, you can get one of those on xisumavoid.com. If you go to the part that says t-shirts, what you'll find is that those are commission free, meaning that I and the person who made the artwork makes no money off of the t-shirts, so we can sell them at the cheapest price possible. Now that might sound like a really cool idea for Hermitcraft. Unfortunately, we have discussed the logistics of doing this before, and it doesn't seem like everyone's ever going to be on the same page on how to do Hermitcraft merchandise. So what I would say is feel free to create your own. Obviously not to then distribute or sell or profit from, because that's not what our group is about. But if you know how to, order a hoodie with a custom image from a website, then make one for yourself. Grab the Hermitcraft logo. Make your own t-shirts. There's stuff out there, images on the Reddit, fan art that people share. If you're doing it for personal use, then there's a way that you could get yourself some of your own Hermitcraft merchandise, and then it would be completely unique and personalized as well, which I think is a really cool thing. This next question says, are you going to get a series mascot like Mumbo and Iskall with Senior Bumbo Cactoni? Now, this makes me think about a common thing that happens to YouTubers. One person does something in their video, and then you'll see comments on your video saying, hey, you should do this thing, the thing that they just saw in the other YouTuber's video. Now, it kind of reminds me like that, not saying it's the same thing, but, Iskall and Mumbo having a mascot is their thing that they've come up with. And I do actually have something you could say is kind of similar. We've got Evil X over on this channel, but it's not quite the same. Evil X has his own episodes, specials with cinematics, and has his own character, and, Senior Bumbo Cactoni is like a build that reoccurs in the series. And so I think it's good to follow your inspiration and do things that, feel right. So if I'd have seen Bumbo Senior Cactoni and it reminded me of this idea that I had once and this thing that we could do, and then I build a little statue and it changes or whatever, then that would be cool because it would be inspired and it would be something that I wanted to do. But just to have something like a mascot because someone else has done something is, to me, kind of pointless. It defeats the purpose of that thing being unique. So in reverse, the question could be to Iskall, why don't you have Evil Iskall? Where's Evil Mumbo? Right? It would be really rubbish if everyone on this server had like an evil version of themselves, right? So it's all about unique ideas, and perhaps one day in the future I might create something and people point out that it has a face on it, and then we give it a name as a joke, and then it becomes a bit of a running gag. These things need to happen naturally, I think. You can't just force it like, oh, they've got a mascot, so now I should have one. That's not the way I go about doing things, really. Q&A, where did you get the idea behind Evil X? Well, we just started talking about Evil X, didn't we? I haven't really scratched my head too much, to be honest. I was about to say that, I've thought about it a little bit, but not a lot. I don't really remember how I got started on the whole Evil X thing. I mean, obviously at some point I had to plan out the first Evil X episode that we made, so there was some thought process in it, but I can't really remember how I decided that I wanted to do Evil X, which is a little bit of a shame, really. I thought that'd be an interesting answer, but the truth is I don't have one for you. I mean, yeah, not even like an origin source or anything. It's just I can't really remember how I decided to come up with this character and, make an Evil X thing happen. Maybe it was down to some sort of communication with people in the comments suggesting ideas. I have got no idea. And I really want to know the answer now as well. That was kind of good, that little thing that we did there where we knocked out the... yeah, I got a bucket of water, that's cool, where we knocked out the dirt at the bottom here. All we've done so far is nothing but trees, trees, trees. And when we've done the trees, we'll go around and do some of the other stuff as well. But anyway, this next Q&A is, why haven't you made an iron farm? Peeps, why haven't I made an iron farm? Where is all that iron coming from that I've got and I've been using this season? It might be coming from my iron farm, so let's just head over there. I mean, I guess someone probably just hasn't seen all of the episodes, right? So below our massive iron foundry is what I've been calling it. There is an iron farm. It's hidden. Well, it's really hidden actually, but it's hidden behind one of these walls. I was kind of afraid of that So let's do a little sprint. Yikes. The iron golems come from there. They come from somewhere over here in this direction, and for some reason I thought that we would be able to see it, but clearly not. It is hidden away, but there is definitely an iron farm. Let's go and check on how much stuff it is actually produced. There's the golems. Let's whack the heads, walk into here, and that's quite a bit. That's quite a bit that it's been producing, and I haven't been in the area so much lately, so I'm pleased with that. This next Q&A is a Q's&A because there's 3 questions here bundled into one. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll answer all 3 of them. So the first one is favourite build in Hermitcraft 5. The base in general. I don't think there's like a particular thing that we've done that has stuck out much more than anything else. It's just the base as a whole, and it was always supposed to be like that, right? It was always supposed to be a big season-long base that we start pretty much from the get-go, which is something that I hadn't done the season before. You know, we stayed in the communal area the entire time basically, and so I wanted to do something kind of different from that. And yeah, so it's the thing as a whole is what I like about it. The second one is favourite myth-busting episode. That's a really tough question. Now, my favourite thing about myth-busting is discovering something I wasn't expected. Often I get questions, I get asked a lot, and I'm saying this as someone who hasn't done myth-busting in quite a while and probably won't be making a lot more of it in the future. You know, we'll probably do a few each time an update comes out, but I feel like I've sort of exhausted the myth-busting in me, if that makes sense, because there's not a lot more questions to be answered about this game, or the ones that there are I'm not terribly interested in. But anyway, I digress. The thing that I like most is when we discover something really unexpected. A lot of the time I can go into it knowing what people are answering, and generally knowing the answer and just proving it and showing you the whys and hows of things, right? But what I really love is when we come up with something really unexpected, and especially where it's been useful, and that's happened a couple of times. As for favourite episodes, I think some of my favourites involve Enderman. I really enjoyed doing the Enderman teleporting stuff. There was one where we learned about crops growing in rows. They grow faster in rows, which was really cool. And then there's probably been 1 or 2 others as well. I remember doing one with squids and light, which is really cool. Have we really used up all of those logs on the bottom of those trees? We have. We have. That's insane. I'm going to have to go farm some more in a bit. For now, I think what we'll focus on doing is getting these 3 things in place. Maybe some coarse dirt as well. I noticed a couple of coarse dirt blocks. So what we've done is we've laid down the tree so far. Now we've got to go around and do it all up like we did over here. So we've got to look out for the different things. Yeah, like dirt and coarse dirt, flowers, pressure plates, pods are. We've got all of that. Occasional bit of grass. That's allowed in here. Some bone meal for long grass. So we'll include that. And I can't help but think there's something else that I've missed. But no, that would appear to be all the ingredients. Okay, so the pressure plates go on these bits, so we cover up the orange as we want less orange overall in this area. So that's what I'll go around doing. And the third question, by the way, was best prank in Hermitcraft/Fullcraft/Hermits, guys, you or another person did. Now, I've never been much of a prankster. Pranks is not something that I generally get involved in too often. I really like them. I always want to do them more. The best ones will always be the pranks between me and Zombie Cleo back on Hermitcraft Season 2. Those were fantastic. I believe it started with me giving her some fish to tame cats, and I gave her cooked fish, which can't tame cats, and she was annoyed and she pranked me for it. And then I pranked her back, and I'm not actually going to tell you what I did, but it involved converting one of her buildings into something else. And her reaction was great. This is back in Season 2 of Hermitcraft, if you want to go look it up. And then later on, at the very end of the season, I pranked her again, related to the same thing. And that one was brilliant. Her reaction, she couldn't believe what was happening. It turned out really, really great. And I'll tell you what, I do want to put the old pranking cap on at some point again, because I had so much fun. This one right here has got dirt underneath it. I have got no more logs to place around it. That makes me sad. Looks like we got most of this middle bit done, so now let's move around to the other side and put down some more of these pressure plates over there. Q&A, what is your favourite Hermitcraft season? Which one did you enjoy making videos on the most? Now, successively, every Hermitcraft season has always felt a bit better than the last one, and I would have said that about Season 5 up until recently. I've kind of been missing the community aspect that we had on Season 4. And so I'm going to say Season 4 was my favourite, and I believe Season 6 is probably going to revolve around a similar idea of all of us playing together again. You know, we talked about it a lot, and we decided to do something different to separate out and everyone kind of like focus on having their own mega bases this season. And it has been really good up until a point. And that point is now, for me, I think it's because I've done most of the farms and I've got most of the technical stuff out of the way. It's all down to the building stuff now. And that's where I'm starting to miss like the other players and being in that Season 4 world where things were organic, you know, stuff was always changing around you and popping up, whereas now you're kind of stuck in your lonesome on your island with all the work to do, and it doesn't quite feel the same. So I'd probably say 4 is a fraction more fun than Season 5 has been. I know it's not so, but it feels like I have to keep sleeping in the bed at the moment. I guess I'm just having a bit of fun and time is whizzing by at the moment. This next Q&A is, why don't you do more Hermitcraft and less modded stuff? That's a great question, because obviously I'm doing far more modded than I am vanilla at the moment. And basically my answer is I've been playing vanilla for 5 years. I still really love it. It's still Minecraft, of course, which is what modded is in a way as well. But it just so happens to be that Hermit Sky has started recently. I really wanted to be a part of it. And normally I wouldn't do 3 series at once, but because it was Christmas time and I just figured, yeah, let's do that. So I've ended up doing more modded stuff and I've been really enjoying it. But at the same time, it's partly because after playing this game for so long and the updating of Minecraft is so notoriously slow and dull. to be fair, like, I get excited about Minecraft updates, but it's not moving very fast, is it? Like, this is the world's biggest game and they're kind of not adding a lot to it, in my opinion. And so as it moves forward slowly, modded has just become more and more interesting, because every time I go to play modded, there's always a new mod, there's always a new way of looking at things, and because of that, you know, it's easier to commit to doing 2 modded series. And let's make that tall grass, actually. Yeah, it's much easier to commit to doing. Oh, have I got some ferns as well? I do. Yeah, much easier to commit to doing 2 modded series and 1 vanilla. So that's the reason why there's been more modded than vanilla lately, and it will probably stay that while for some time, I guess. Q&A, Asuma, why did you ever start doing YouTube, as well as why did you decide to be a Minecraft YouTuber? Second Q&A is, why did you choose Minecraft as your main game to play? What's the story behind it? I would say that it probably wasn't a choice. I just accidentally kind of fell into doing this. I started my YouTube channel to put my music out there. I was making beats, I was writing songs, playing guitar, doing all that kind of stuff, and I wanted to put it on YouTube to, you know, get some feedback and just have people listen to it and see what they think about it, etc. And during all of that, what happened was I got, you know, distracted by Minecraft, this new game that my friend told me about. He said, "You'd like this?" So I went and checked it out, and sure enough, I really liked it. I was very dedicated to music at the time. I was trying to put all my energy and effort into it, and I couldn't help myself but play a little bit of a game in between, and I had no idea it would take me on an entirely different path, because all I wanted to do at the time was music. It's still pretty much all that I want to do. I've just sort of been, you know, dragged away from that, and I'm doing this now, which I love as well. So yeah, that was why I created the channel. And then when I was playing Minecraft, I noticed that a lot of like tutorials and stuff that I were looking up, people would record at night, they wouldn't talk properly, which is, well, I didn't even talk when I started making my tutorials, but there are a lot of bad things about these videos I noticed, recording at night being the biggest culprit. People telling you their life stories when you've tuned in to watch a tutorial was another one that kind of drove me mad a little bit, and I thought, you know what, I can do this as well, and I've got things I know about this game, and so I started making some contraptions, putting together ideas, making a couple of tutorials, and I kind of hit the ground running because I was active in promoting my content. I went to some communities that I was involved in, posted my videos, and you know, it's quite a like honest little way of posting videos back then. This was before YouTubers as careers was really a thing, and gaming on YouTube wasn't particularly serious yet, and so it was, you know, these days it's very difficult to promote yourself in that way, but back then I could go and post my video in certain places and people will actually come along and look at it and check it out and be like, all right, so this is you know, a Minecraft tutorial. That's pretty cool and helpful. And some people subscribed, which was great. And then I got a shout out from Doc M, who was an already established Minecraft YouTuber with a Let's Play, thousands of people watching him every video, and that really set me on my way then. Then it kind of felt like, okay, I'm here now, like, I'm part of this, and I thought, do you know what, I want to keep doing this. I'm having a lot of fun making these videos. People are liking them. I'm gaining subscribers. This is really cool. And then, you know, after about probably over a year, it became my job. It just got to a point where I was like, I should just go for it and try and do this for a living. And I ain't looked back since, you know. It's been absolutely great. Q&A. Do you ever feel bored of Minecraft? Why/why not? I don't really get that bored of it, to be honest, and the main reason is because I have an audience. That makes the experience of playing ever so different. You know, I'm not just doing my own thing for myself, I'm always doing it for other people as well, and knowing that other people are going to enjoy it, they're going to leave comments and talk about it, that gives you like a good and fresh feeling with everything that you do, because you know there's going to be like this wave of feedback, and that's really, really enjoyable. But of course I do get a little bit bored of it from time to time, but as I think I mentioned it earlier, because I've said a lot I've said a lot this video, that, you know, I turn up and I do this every day, and on some days it's not always going to be the best, but you got to keep that goal in mind, that you enjoy doing this, you want to do this as a career, as like a living. And so on those days where you're not feeling 100% about doing it, you should turn up and do it anyway, because on the days that you are 100% up for it and you really want to crack on and make a video, this is, you know, you're going to be thankful that you stuck at it all that time, because if you take the time off just because you don't really feel like it today, then this ain't going to be a job. People are going to, you know, disappear if you don't post videos often, if that makes sense. You know, that's not how YouTube works. You have to be consistent, you have to be hardworking to succeed on this platform. Q&A. Where does your rather unique way of pronouncing certain words come from? So this could be referring to a couple of things. First of all, a cha-cha woods. That is actually just a joke, you know. Corrales, that comes from, I believe he said a cha-cha. I don't know if he was trying to say it or if he's just having fun, but it's a really cool way of pronouncing it, and that's why I say a cha-cha. I also say things like automagically, again, made up fun words. I think it's fun to have language like that, to skew it about a little bit and have a little bit of fun. And then there's other things that I say, like my THs and my Fs I get entirely wrong. Many people tell me in my comments about it, and I'm very aware of it. I actually had therapy when I was a kid to try and help me say certain words correctly, and it didn't really get me anywhere at all. I just couldn't get my head round the difference or how to make myself say it different, and it's just one of those things, you know. At the end of the day, we are all born different from one another. We are all unique in some ways. Everyone's got strengths and weaknesses, and I don't think it's a big deal if you struggle to say words incorrectly or whatever. You know, I have tried to learn to say them the correct way, supposedly, and it hasn't really worked out for me, and that's just me. You know, that's just how I say words, and I'm fine with that. Right, we're getting into some silly questions now. Silly questions indeed. Do you like ducks? I like all animals. There are no animals I don't like. I think Mother Nature is wonderful, and I love watching nature shows, and animals are just beautiful, and so I love all of them really. They're all unique. So I've got nothing against ducks, nothing against them at all. Q&A. Do you ever read comments on your Asuma 2 channel videos? The answer is yes, but not in the way that I do on my main channel. So the way that I can't look at comments and answer them here is generally to, throughout the day, refresh my comments page and see all the comments that are coming through at that time. Also, I'll open up a video maybe half hour to an hour after it's gone live, and I'll read some comments and reply there as well. That's how I do the commenting. On the second channel, it's not like that really. It's much more specific. I will think, oh, that guitar video that I posted a week ago, let's go read the comments, or if there's something very, I don't know, topical or something I know people are going to be replying to, then I'll go and check out what people have said. But otherwise, videos on the second channel generally just get posted and then left alone from me, I don't particularly go and read or look at what's going on over there. The next Q&A is your dream guitar. I technically own my dream guitar. I own a like a rebuild of it. What do they call it again? It's from the premium line of Ibanez. So basically, there is a guitar that some of my favourite bands have played with. You can see it in their like old live concerts. You can see it in old videos. It is a 7-string Ibanez with green dots on it, and it is called The Universe. Meshuggah have played with it. Steve Vai's played with it. Korn with their first album. Kind of bringing a new sound to metal with 7-string guitars. A few other bands like Morbid Angel and Dream Theater as well. They've all played with this guitar, and I've seen it everywhere for years. I've watched like concerts on YouTube, and it's like, there's that guitar with the green dots. And this year, 2017, I got back into playing guitar. I have religiously played guitar every single day and gotten really good at it and brought myself a load of guitars. And one of those guitars is the premium line of The Universe. If you want to check it out, there are videos of me playing it on my second channel. As I mentioned a moment ago, I post guitar videos on there, and that's generally the thing I read the comments for the most on there. I always want to see what people are saying about that, because that's like a fresh new thing that I'm doing at the moment. But that, yeah, technically is my dream guitar. There's another guitar I really like as well, which is the Ibanez Gem that Steve Vai plays with, and those guitars are insanely expensive, and I'll probably never buy one. I'm also not a lead guitar player, so it'd be kind of silly for me to buy a guitar like that, because it's basically made for shredding on. But that's kind of not how I play, so it would be a little bit pointless for me to have that one. Oh look, there's leaves blocks here. I wonder if they've actually been loaded by the server. Now my draw distance is kind of large, so that would have still been loaded, but the server may have not been loading this area right here, and the leaves might have not despawned. Or they could just be there for some reason. Oh, we're now falling in the hole. This next Q&A is, what's your favourite song or album of the year? Now, at the time that this video goes out, I would have posted my end of year blogs on my music blog, where I go over my favourite musical discoveries, new music that I found and gotten into. And I also would have posted my top 10 albums of the year. If you want to go check that out, there'll probably be links in the description box down below to all of that. That one was a bit fussy about growing, wasn't it? So anyway, to answer your question, my favourite album this year was Sixth, The Future in Whose Eyes. Sixth are a band that I have followed since their very early days. They're like an underground UK metal band. They're definitely a bands band. There are lots of big bands that know of this band, and they've been like a big influence on them. And anyway, their first album's kind of legendary, and then this year when they came back with this album, like, I have just been listening to it throughout the year over and over again, and it does not tire on me. I think it's absolutely brilliant. It gets me excited, and I love it. There's nothing else that's really been quite that strong this year. I haven't actually written the list yet, but I'm pretty damn sure that is going to be at the top of my list. And also, you asked, like, favourite song or album. I don't really like pick out individual songs that often. I like to listen to albums. I like to listen to something for a good 45 minutes, and that be the listening experience. So it's very rare that one song will jump out at me and be like this song that I have to listen to over and over again. Yeah, and that I can't think of that happening this year. There's always songs that you go to like that. These ones are the really good ones on this record. But because I like listening to things as records rather than listen to individual songs, I don't really have like one song that stands out for me. Q&A. How do you motivate yourself to achieve something you want/need? Any tips to say disciplined? My tip would actually be discipline itself. I don't really believe or rely on motivation to do things. I do them because they are part of my plans, because they're what I want to do or what I know I need to do. And actually getting disciplined in the first place can kind of be like a tricky and a slow process. You've got to always tell yourself, hey, I should do that thing because I know that I really need to do it. And it will probably take you, a fair amount of times to do that before you start to get that feeling of like, right, each time I do this, it's worth it in the long run. And once you get a hold of that feeling, you want to kind of grab onto it, and that will help you stay disciplined, knowing that you can tell yourself to do things because you know they're better for you in the long run. Q&A, are you religious? I am not religious. I don't really believe in gods. I also sort of don't not believe in God. Like, I wouldn't call myself an atheist, maybe an agnostic, but The way I live my life day to day, it's just not a question that comes into my mind. And when it comes to things like morality, I believe in, doing the best you can do and thinking things through, being compassionate. And so it's not really something that dictates anything in my life, is the way that I would look at it. It's just not a factor in my day to day. There is, of course, more work to be done on that area, but that was just me doing a bit over there while we have our Q&A episode. Remember, I'm away on holiday at the moment, so it'll be a while before I can get back and read all of the comments, but I think that we should do this again in the future. So if you do want to see more Q&As in the future, just leave a comment down below saying that you'd like to see that, and then we can do more of them, and maybe we can theme the Q&As as well around particular subjects or something like that. I don't know, I just very much enjoyed this, thought it was great. And anyway, that's going to be it from me this episode. If you have enjoyed it, leave a like. As always, thank you for the support, and I'll see you in the next one. So ciao for now, bye bye.